You know, one of the signs of a great award show?
What?
It makes me want to run out and see the movie, and that's what happened with Boyhood from the Golden Globes the other night. I ran out immediately and saw Boyhood, so I'm so excited to have in the studio today from the movie Brad Hawkins.
Hey, Brad.
Welcome.
Look at this good-looking room right now.
They should have called
You made it better.
They should have called this movie 12 Years a Movie because it took 12 years to make, right?
It did. It didn't. I wasn't a part of the 12-year cast. I did for 3. I was involved with 3.
Yeah, and your character comes in towards the tail end of the movie, so you weren't there, like you said, for the first 9 years of the movie-making process. So you didn't really have that familiarity that the rest of the cast had when you came in.
Everything that I learned about the movie, I learned through Richard Linklater. When we sat down 5 years ago, and we were just in a trailer talking, and he's like, hey, I'm considering actors for this new role. This is the role he plays in Patricia's life, and went through a little bit of the background story. And everything I learned about the movie, I learned through Rick. So it was it was being fed to me. And he's like, we did a little improv scene. And he goes, perfect. You're exactly what I'm looking for. I don't know when I'm going to talk to you again because we're shooting once a year. And I was like, it took probably another 6 to 9 months before I even heard from him. I didn't even know if I had the job. But he called me and goes, hey, it's your turn.
So did you wait 5 years to get paid?
Yeah, right.
No.
You have to wait till the movie's over?
Yeah, that would have been harder to sell me on. But no, they were good on paying.
It's really a risky proposition. I mean, the concept of this movie is crazy. Filmed over a 12-year span of this little boy's life and everybody that's around him. I mean, what if the people that started on day 1 weren't available for filming by year 11? What do you do?
Yeah. And that was the thing is, by law, you can't have a contract that goes longer than, 7 years?
Right.
So everything was just a verbal commitment by all the actors. And, I mean, I give it up to Ethan Hawke and Patricia Arquette and Eller and Lorelai because Eller was a kid. He was a 6-year-old kid. And the big question Rick gets a lot is, how did you know that was the kid that you were going to go all in on your chips on that one kid for the next 12 years? And he's like, he was just special. Out of everybody that I read, he was insightful. He was kind of introverted and really creative. And he goes, I think he's going to turn into a very special young man.
So there was truly no backup plan.
No.
There was no plan B because, I mean, I hate to be morbid, but you got to think sometimes life happens.
Yeah.
And
An accident.
there's loss. And
You know what? They'd rewrite the script then, right?
Your arm falls off or
I
something?
just don't know how what if something happens to the main character? I mean, we're looking at 4 main characters. What if one of them just goes, you know what? I don't want to act anymore. I'm gonna move to France. I don't want to do this anymore. What if like one of the leads gets in an accident or something?
Somebody goes to jail or prison, for a while.
Or if this kid strikes a huge movie and then becomes like Daniel Radcliffe, and then he's like, oh, that's beneath me.
I don't want to do this anymore. Yeah, so it was a verbal commitment, and we were all just really passionate. I know that everybody, that if you were to ask the cast or Rick Linklater or any of these people, if you said, hey, this is going to be an Oscar movie, all of us have been like, you're crazy. Yeah. Because it was just a low budget. The movie was $4 million.
How much did you get paid?
Not that.
3.7. Stop asking.
I tell you, to watch the physical transformations, it was so exciting because, they literally close one door and come through the next, and they were suddenly 3 or 4 years
Hair's
older.
longer,
And you get to see Patricia Arquette as a mom.
Yeah.
She went through a little weight gain in a certain season of her life, and then she was looking all hot and sexy. It was just interesting to see the adults as they transformed through the years. Even you, with the hair, without the facial hair.
I did when I was watching it. I was just wanting to make sure that I wasn't cut out of the movie. So I was supposed to. I did. I hosted the Dallas premiere here at the Magnolia, and then all of a sudden, the night before, I was just like, what if I got cut out of the movie? What if I'm not? What if I invited like 200 of my friends and family, and they're all coming? And
You hadn't seen it at that point?
I hadn't seen it, and so there was a screening in Austin, and I jumped in my car and I drove to Austin. I was like, I got to make sure I'm in this movie.
That's hilarious.
That would really be bad.
Now, when you met a girl at a club and you tell her what you do, I'm in this movie. You might want to check it out. It's going to be out in about 5 years.
That's it.
She's like, yeah, whatever. I'm not coming on with you, dude.
That didn't work.
You've been acting for a long time, though, right?
24 years.
And you headed out to L.A., I read, with like just one box of stuff and a tank of gas, and that was it?
Yeah, that was it. I had a blue Honda Civic hatchback. Don't ask me why, but it was perfect for a starting actor and going out there.
And your first big job?
First big job was VR Troopers. It was like a spinoff of Power Rangers.
JC.
Yeah.
Which one were you? The gold one?
It was the blonde one. No, but I did the voice of the Gold Ranger.
Yeah. Shut up. Really?
Yeah.
You can kick and stuff?
Not
Well, as
now.
the
I'd break a
voice.
hip.
Whatever.
You don't have to actually do the stuff if you're just the
I
voice.
mean, if you're in the sound booth, you got to do the kick.
No, yeah, but we did anything that you see us outside the costume, we had to do all that stuff. So, yeah,
Are you
it was
so
cool. I did that
jealous
for
right
3 years.
now?
JC
That was
is
my
like
first one.
amazed.
I mean, the only thing better would have been if you were like a Ninja Turtle voice.
We're talking to Brad Hawkins. He played Jim, one of the stepdads in the movie Boyhood. It's just crazy to me. This movie was filmed over 12 years, and the main cast stuck together. And you were just at the tail end of it. Imagine those that were there from day one,
Yeah.
the payoff. I mean, finally,
Yeah.
after all those years.
And I think, and I worked, when I was working with Patricia, Ethan was just so cool. He's just so chill. I mean, in the middle of scenes, he'd sit down on the front porch and play guitar and, hang out with people on set. He was just so, knowledgeable and wise and relaxed. And I think Patricia just really, I think over the course of time, and she says it in a lot of her interviews, I didn't enjoy me aging on camera. It's kind of like it shows that. And in 2 hours and 45 minutes, it basically shows you age 12 years. I
Yeah.
don't think she was a big fan of that, but I think after pulling down a Golden Globe the other night, I think it was worth
Yeah,
I think
she's
it was
fine
worth
with
it.
it
so
now.
funny because I watched the movie after she won the Golden Globe for her performance, and I picked the scene out that won it for her. It's when her son's getting ready to leave her to
was
go to
amazing.
college. I'm like, that's what got her the Golden
Yeah,
Globe right there.
That one scene. That
And
one
when
scene.
you tell people about the movie, I was kind of watching the movie the whole time. I'm like, okay, there's a message. I'm going to get a message from this movie, and I didn't get it till the very end. I want to see if my message that I interpreted was correct. What's the message of the movie Boyhood to you?
The message of the movie is that everybody has their own childhood that's unique. And I don't think Boyhood is specific to everybody's life. And I think there's a lot of people out there going, well, that wasn't my childhood. That wasn't my boy.
Yeah.
Well, no, but you can't really sit through the movie and not find one piece of it that doesn't apply to you. You're sitting there and you're going, I remember that. I remember getting picked on in high school. I remember getting shot down by the girl. I remember, and I've had people that my mom has dated. My mom and dad split up when I was young, but a lot of her boyfriends were that stepdad and that abusive, physical or whatever, And so I don't think you can watch the movie and not be affected in one way or another. So I think that's the big message, is that we all have a childhood, that at some point you stop being a kid and you become an adult. And it's that moment of everything prior to you becoming an adult it's so precious.
Yeah, that's what I got, was the moments, that life is a series of moments, and you were involved in this boy's life and the mother's life for a moment in time, and then the next moment you were gone.
Yeah.
I don't want to give anything away.
I hear you say. I hear you speak of getting shot down. Why didn't y'all bring anybody back from Boys in the Hood to be in Boyhood?
That's part 2?
Yeah, I mean Doughboy or Ricky or somebody.
Somebody.
Ricky dies, Al.
Well, I mean it's a movie.
It's the movies,
Anything
anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
I tell you what's really brilliant, and I always give it right back to Richard Linklater, because it was his vision, it was his gamble, and a lot of people just don't realize it. It all happened in his mind. And this blows people away once I tell people about the layers of it, is there was no script. We basically, every year that we would meet up, he would have you do a homework project on your character until you guys meet again. Like, where would you be a year from now? So when you show up, you kind of bring your notes about, like, hey, I think my guy's doing this. Maybe he's drinking a little bit more. He's having trouble getting back into the workforce and stuff like that. He didn't want to be a dad to begin with, and now he's got all these responsibilities. I was like, that's where I'm going with it. He's like, I like that. So we'd sit there and we'd literally improv the scene, and he would write down everything that he really liked. You'd get the scene that night, and we'd stand it up the next day.
Wow.
So that's a layer to the movie that a lot of people in the screenplay, and why I think Rick deserves all the credit, is the screenplay was in his head the whole time. I never got a Boyhood script. And that was the
Wow.
scariest thing. They're like,
No
hey, you're
script.
shooting next week. And I'm like, what am I shooting? They're like, we're going to figure it out.
That's crazy.
Were you a dude and procrastinated till the last second to get your homework in?
I've always been.
Hey-
that guy.
We normally
Man, I got to come up with a storyline.
real quick.
Drinking?
I've had a year.
Yeah.
And,
I didn't even know if I was going to get called back. Like, whenever I did that last scene on the porch, I just never got called again. So I was like, I guess
I'm done?
Guess we're done.
So no homework this year?
No homework.
Well, Brad, I have a question. Since it is award season and things seem to be going pretty well for Boyhood, what other movie do you think is your biggest competition?
Ooh, wow.
What did you love?
I'm gonna tell you what, my favorite out of everything that I've seen is Whiplash. I just love that movie because I'm a musician too, and I watched it and I got sucked into the storyline, and I know the actual commitment that both of those actors had to go through. I mean, he had to be that good on the drums. You can't fake that on camera.
Yeah.
So you have to be that good. So I just looked at it and I was like, I love the story, and it took me all the way to the last scene of the last frame of the movie when they make eye contact, and it was like, finally we connect, and I was literally at the end, I was like, That's a movie. I was like, that's a movie. So I'm a big fan. As soon as I got done, I put it on Twitter, and I was like, great commitment and fantastic movie. So I was a big fan of Whiplash.
Well, everybody give it up for Brad Hawkins. Make sure you watch this movie, Boyhood. Super good.